scarce, quick boys, an ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time, but someone still was yelling out and stumbling, and floundering like a man in fire or lime, dim through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, and drowning. So this climactic event is a gas attack. Veloci, veloci ragazzi, un'estasi di gesticoli che cercavano di mettersi in modo goffo l'elmetto appena in tempo, ma qualcuno stava ancora gridando e stava inciampando e qualcuno lottava come se fosse un uomo nel fuoco o nella calce viva. In modo appannato potevano vedere attraverso il vetro del loro elmetto e si trovavano di fronte a questa luce verde spessa, come se fossero sotto al mare, ad un mare verde, ed io lo vidi annegare. We've got an alternation between we, they, and I. So the poet himself is part of this group. He sees boys, companions, friends, reacting to this horrible event, dramatic event, which is a gas attack. And then we've got the protagonist himself, the poet, who experiences a terrible moment. So this is a climax. It's a gas attack. He used the word ecstasy, not in a positive way, but because he is describing a kind of sudden rush of adrenaline. When you are in physical danger, you feel intense fear, and this is probably why he uses the word ecstasy. So the soldiers understand that's a moment, a very dangerous moment, and they have to react very quickly. Fumbling means that they are moving, but in a very agitated way because they are completely frightened and scared. They try to put on their helmets, obviously. Clumsy are not the helmets, but clumsy are the movements of these soldiers who are trying to do everything very quickly and to do it just in time. Some people are crying out and they are stumbling, so they fall over this ground, which, as we have seen in the first stanza, it's a very difficult ground to walk on. The environment is completely bare. There is no more nature left. There are no more trees. The ground is made up of mud, which almost imprisons the soldiers. And here we've got a very important metaphor in line 12, because we've got an apparent contradiction between two images, the image of burning and the image of drowning. Because he says that there are some people who probably didn't manage to wear the helmet in time, the gas mask in time. Therefore, they experienced the terrible effects of the gas on their bodies. These men are floundering. To flounder means to agitate themselves. So you are still walking with agitated movements without any real purpose. Like a man who is burning in fire or who is burning in lime. Lime is calce viva. It was used to kill infections. So lime was used to burn up diseases, to kill infections. So lime has got the same effect that fire has. It burns. So we've got this idea of a man, soldier, who is burning like in fire or like in lime. Therefore he agitates himself because he tries to get free from it. And they can't see outside properly because the gas has produced this green fog. So the panes, these small pieces of glass of the helmets, la visiera, has become misty because there is gas outside. There is a green cloud produced by the gas shells. And from the idea of fire, we move to the idea of water. So this green cloud looks like a green sea, as if they were under the green sea. And the poet saw probably a friend of his drowning, annegare. Why drowning? The poet here is describing very clearly and realistically what is the physical effect of gas on human bodies. When soldiers breathed gas, the gas first burnt their mouth and throat, but then, as it went down to the lungs, polmoni, it liquefied the lungs. The lungs literally, basically became water. So the man who has breathed gas literally drowns in his own lungs. He drowns in his own water because he can't breathe anymore. Therefore, we've got these opposing images. A man who is burning in the fire first and then drowning in his own water as a second moment. It's a terrible image, a very realistic image of the gas effect on the bodies. And then the poet says, in all my dreams, which were probably nightmares, not dreams, in front of my sight, which was helpless because he felt helpless, he couldn't help this friend while he was dying, so he felt probably guilt because of this. He, and this he is probably his friend, plunges at me, he drowns in front of me, guttering, choking and drowning. So the poet witnessed the death of one of his friends, and he couldn't do anything. And he probably felt guilty because of the fact that he survived. That was one of the typical psychological condition of those shell shock cases who survived the war but were completely devastated in their mind. Plunge means when someone is moving away, he can't be captured anymore. He's falling and moving away. The word gutter is interesting because it has got two meanings in English. Gutter is a name that indicates the open tube which contains rain on the roof of a house. So it collects the rain from the roof of a house. But guttering is also a verb in English, and it means the noise that the candle makes when it burns to the end. So the very last few seconds of a candle's light. Crepitio, we say in Italian. Choking means that he was coughing because he couldn't breathe anymore, and then he drowned in his own lungs and water. So again, we've got this alternation of water and fire. It was like a flame which was gradually dying away. So the young man, the young soldier, was dying away. So the second stanza is, you can say, the very moment in which the climax is described. The enemy are firing shells at the British soldiers. There is this very realistic description of the gas attack as a central dramatic moment of the poem, which is played on the contrasting images of fire and water, burning and drowning. The poet manages to give a vivid, cruel description of the physical effects of the gas attack using very specific onomatopoeic and technical words, very specific words which try to make the scene very realistic and vivid in front of our eyes. He wants to give us all the particular details, even though they seem cruel and horrible and disgusting.